Hi, this is Mark Rosen from WCCO TV, and it's my pleasure to introduce my good friend Ron Henderson, the Fitness King, presenting Motivation, one word to help change your life.
Welcome to Motivation. I'm Ron Henderson, aka the Fitness King. I'm excited about today's show. With me is Wanny Huynh. Wanny Huynh is a distinguished motivational speaker and author of several self-help books, and his latest is called Hope. Welcome to Motivation, Wanny. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Ron.
I see you got your book with you.
Yes.
Hope by Wanny Huynh. We're here to talk about your book. I'm excited to have you on today's show. Okay, but before we get up and close and personal, what I want to do is find out some things about you that most people don't know.
Absolutely.
And if you've ever watched, my guests, they expect this on Motivation, by the way. Okay, can you tell my viewing audience one thing about you that most people don't know, Wanny?
When I first came to the U.S., all I know was ABC and 1, 2, 3, right? And I thought that was enough to get by, but that wasn't the case. When people start opening their mouths, I go, uh-oh, I still have a lot to learn.
All right. So most people don't know that.
They don't know that, yeah.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Right, okay. So let me ask you this question. How did you, when you say you only knew ABC, how did you actually, before we get into your story, how did you start learning even the language?
I watched Sesame Street.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's how I learned my English.
Okay. All right. See, did you hear that? Sesame Street. So some of you people out there, they can't get your A's and your B's and you don't know how to talk. Come on. You know what I'm talking about, okay? Start watching Sesame Street.
Yeah, to this day, I still have struggled with the English language. English is a hard language.
Right.
But thanks to Sesame Street, I able to get my basic down.
That's good. Well, I got to tell you this, Wanny. I went through YouTube. I read articles on you, watched some of your tapes, went through your synopsis of your books. Some of them I kind of read a little bit online just to kind of really check out where you're coming from. So you came from what country?
Vietnam.
Okay. And why did you how did you get to the United States, first of all? And how long have you been here?
Absolutely. Our family escaped Vietnam when I was 8 years old.
And why did they escape?
Because back then, my dad was working alongside American soldier during the Vietnam War. And after the American pulled out, years later, the Viet Cong were doing a campaign to capture and imprison all those who were working alongside American. And when my dad aware of this, he had two choices: either be captured or flee the country. And the only choice was to flee the country.
Okay. And how did were you old enough to remember, how did you guys actually flee?
Yes, we flee by foot. We escaped in the middle of the night and make our way through Cambodian border, hoping to get to Thailand.
How many miles is it? I'm just curious, because your story is fascinating.
Yeah,
okay?
thank you.
All right.
It is a long journey, but along our journey we came across many obstacles. My older brother and I, my brother was 10 years old at the time, and I was 8 years old. We both got kidnapped by the Khmer Rouge for 2 months. And after that, we reunited with our family, and then war broke out again between Cambodia and Vietnam. And next thing you know, we found ourselves in the middle of the battlefield. Bullet and missiles flying all over our head, and we managed to survive that as well. Then we were stationed in a refugee camp for about 2 years before we got sponsored to come to the U.S.
Okay. I want to get into your book, but before we get into your book, which is entitled Hope, okay? You said that you were kidnapped, okay? What was that experience like?
It was...
You're 8 years of age.
Yeah, it was hard. It's undescribable, because back then, my brother and I would put to work like what you call nowadays is child slavery, right? The lady, the husband's wife, the husband, he's in the army, so every time he go out for duty, the wife will put us to work. And he's unaware of this, because when he's home, he treats us very nice. He fed us, he played around with us. But when he's off for duty, the wife would put us to work. She'll make us carry heavy loads of rice bag back and forth.
At 8 years of age.
At 8 years of age. And at night, she would put us outside, sleep without a mosquito net. And every morning, we would wake up with dozens and dozens of mosquito bites all over our skinny body. And it was torture.
And your parents were with you at the same time?
No, my parents was another town nearby, and unaware that we was right next to them, the town. But my parents did not give up hope. They continue seeking out all the travelers who walk back and forth between the two villages and ask anyone if they have seen the two missing boys. And again, many people have stepped up and say, yeah, we've seen your two boys.
But how would they, but I have to ask you this, because this is like, you see, and this is like movie stuff. When you see movies, a lot of stuff in movies, they make up stuff, okay? But this is like real life stuff, okay? So there had to be other kids that were kidnapped too. So when they're asking, have you seen two boys? There's got to be a lot of boys that were kidnapped.
Exactly. Back then, it was normal, right? You see orphans running around with no parents. But this is the time when people would just seem to say, oh yeah, we'll see those two boys, but they just want the money.
Right. Yes.
They really doesn't care, if the two boys, the parent wanted to reunite the parents with the family or not, but they just want the money, so they just claim, oh yeah, they see the two boys, give me some money, I'll bring the two boys back to you.
Okay.
But my mom and dad fell for it. They gave them the money and waited and waited, and no sign of her two boys.
Okay.
But they persist every day, and they keep walking around and asking people until one day this young lady who happened to go by the house that I was living or staying at, right? And just like you said earlier, because when she saw my brother and I, she just thought maybe just a normal thing for two boys, living there, because we were odd to her. But out of curiosity, one day she came and talked to my brother and I, and then when she aware of our story, and then she heard from other people that, hey, this lady is looking for two boys.
Sure.
So she kind of connected the dot.
Okay. So did she tell your parents?
She did. She went and met with my mom one day and kind of described the two boys to my mom, and my mom realized this lady was telling the truth. And then one day, she brought my mom over, and my mom was able to bail us out.
So she had to pay to get you out?
Absolutely.
Wow. Wow. Sleeping conditions, like you said, horrible, mosquitoes and all that stuff?
It's horrible.
Yeah. How was the food?
I don't remember being fed or not during that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
For 2 months?
For 2 long months.
Okay. So then you end up in you said, refugee camp?
Yes.
Okay. How long were you there for?
We were about 18 months.
Okay. And where was that at?
In Thailand.
In Thailand?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you get Cambodia? How do you get to Thailand from there?
All by foot. Yes.
Well, you got to be in shape.
You got to be in great shape.
I'm the fitness king. You got to be really
in 8 years old, you got to be in great shape.
the new fitness king, okay? That's an interesting story. I mean, that's like I said, that's stuff that they make movies out of that stuff. Okay, so you're in Thailand.
Yes.
So how did you get to the United States from Thailand?
We got sponsored.
Okay.
Someone from Minnesota, the older couple who was in church. They sponsor us.
In a church in Thailand?
No, a church here in Minnesota.
But how did they hear about you?
I'm not sure how that worked, but they heard about us and they sponsor us, maybe through this church organization of some sort. But yeah, we got sponsored to them, and then '84, that's when our family arrived to Minnesota.
So your whole family was sponsored?
Our whole family was sponsored.
Wow, wow. So can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
What was your attitude about God at that time? What they call the Christian faith or whatever. What was your attitude before you were accepted into the United States by the church family?
To answer that question, I got to take you a step back.
Do so. I want you to.
Because when I was during the battlefield, right, there was a bomb and missiles flying all over our head. Our family found ourselves in this small bunker. And when it was in this bunker, we heard a loud voice to say, my mom and my dad look, and then they saw this older gentleman. It was like, it's not safe there. Move your family out. My mom didn't think twice. She gathered the whole family, and we all went out to find a new bunker.
Yes.
20 yards away, we found this new bunker. We all hopped in this new bunker. And as we all settled into this new bunker, we noticed that the old man jumped into that same bunker he just warned us about.
Really?
A few seconds later, boom! A missile landed in that bunker.
In that bunker. But he jumped in the same bunker he told you to get out of.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
It didn't make sense at all, but he saved us.
Oh, yeah.
He gave us a new life, a new beginning.
Yep.
And at that moment, I thank God. I realized that,
Right.
There's somebody who was watching over us
Sure.
the whole time.
Sure.
And throughout our journey, I should have died many times. I mean, our family should have died many times.
Right.
But because I believe God had watched over us the whole time as we were journeying through the battlefield and through all the challenges and obstacles along the path.
Right.
Somebody was looking over us. And
Right.
when we were sponsored by this church group, I was a believer, right?
Okay.
Because when we got here, they sent us to church.
Sure. You were a believer at that time.
Yeah, I was a believer at that time. And then they began to talk about God, this and that. And I go, wow, it all makes sense now. At 8 years old. Well, actually, I got here at 10 years old. But
Right.
when I escaped, 8, so it took me 2 years to get to America.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your, if I can ask you, if I can get personal about it, what was your belief system before you found God?
Back then, I was pretty open, you know, free spirit.
Right.
8 years old, and had nothing to worry, right? There's no worry in the world, just
Right. Okay.
being a kid.
Okay. All right. So you come here, you get sponsored. Great, obviously, loving family.
Yes.
Okay. You go to high school here, junior high.
I went
high
to grade school.
Where'd you go to grade school?
I went to Garfield. I still remember the name of the
Okay.
school, Garfield Elementary in Faribault.
Okay. Do you mind mentioning your sponsors' names?
You know, yes, I still remember it's Mr. and Mrs. Rose. Yes, if you're still out there, Mrs. Rose, thank you for all you've done for us. But when we arrived here, it was very old. It was an old couple too, just the two of them. They live in a
Yes.
small town in the apple orchard farm. But yeah, they have done a lot for us. So thank you again.
Yeah. So you get here, you go to school. Then you obviously went to college for a while, right?
Yeah, I went to about a year and a half
Where'd you go to college at?
up to North Dakota.
Okay, North Dakota.
Yeah.
And I guess when I was reading the history on you, said you wanted to be a doctor.
Well, yeah, that's how my parents envisioned of me growing up. They wanted to
Right.
see me become either a doctor, lawyer, engineering, or accountant, right?
right.
So I had to try to please them,
Okay.
make them happy, and I chose doctor because I was terrible at math. So engineering and accounting was out of the pictures.
Right.
And lawyer, I can't even defend myself in court.
Right.
So that too was out the door.
Okay.
The only thing left was become a doctor, and that's why I went to pursue the medical field.
Right. So you went for like a year and a half or something like that?
Yeah.
And you just quit all of a sudden? Just quit?
I realized that that's not something I wanted to do with my life. I cannot see myself doing that day in.
But they make good money.
Just like we talked earlier, right?
Right,
It's not about the
yeah,
money.
I know it isn't.
It's not about the money. It's all about following your passion.
Right, right.
And that's when I realized that that's not for me, and my mind wasn't in school anymore. My heart wasn't there anymore, so
Okay.
I just there's no motivation.
Okay. So you come here, your family sponsors you, you go to school, you go to college, you quit college.
Yeah.
What did you do after that?
I quit college and kind of sat home and contemplating what I want to do with my life. And then one day, a buddy of mine from high school called me up and said, "Hey, come out here. You gotta hear this guy speak."
Okay.
And
Who was the guy?
I don't remember the guy. To this day, I feel bad not knowing who this guy was. He's a motivational speaker. I found myself sitting in a room of about 300 people.
Yep.
And during that time, he said something that was so moving and so inspiring. It
Right.
sent a chill up my spine. And at that moment, I want to do that.
Okay.
I want to get on stage and I want
Really?
to share my story and hopefully to give somebody a goosebump.
Yep.
You know, that was it.
Okay.
That was my motivation. I want to get up there, get on
Okay.
stage, and kind of give somebody some inspirational message and hopefully to uplift them.
Right. And did you feel confident that you could do that right then?
Back then, I did not know anything about the speaking business,
Right.
and I didn't pursue it simply because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a coach.
Right, right.
I just let that stick in the back of my mind, but I never pursued it because of that reason.
Right.
It was what do you call a lack of know-how.
Sure. But
So-
you weren't. Were you kind of scared? You wanted to do it, but yet you didn't have any experience doing it. So how?
I didn't have experience,
Right.
and in the back of my mind, I thought, well, who want to listen to me speak, right?
Sure.
I dropped out of college. I have no success record.
Right.
Those are the thoughts that came across my mind
Sure.
at the same time, and maybe that's another reason why I didn't pursue it right there, right then, because of all this negativity that was planted in the
Sure.
back of my mind.
Sure.
And so instead of trying to pursue that speaking career, I went out there and tried to pursue success.
Okay.
What I thought would be successful. I said, I thought, well, if I become successful, people want to listen to me.
Sure.
Right? So I went out there and pursued sales career.
Okay.
I got into sales career and began selling knife, water filters, financial products, and all that. And I failed miserably.
Okay.
I failed in all that. I realized sales was not something I'm good at.
Right.
I quit sales, and then I got into manufacturing.
Okay.
I worked for UPS.
Okay.
Part-time, and then I came across another co-worker who happened to...
Who worked for the airline.
Who worked for the airline.
Folks, I did the history on this guy. I did the history on it.
There you go. You worked for the airline.
Okay.
And began to share with me all the benefits that I can get by working for the airline. And she sold me the idea that, wow, if I could work for the airline, I can fly all over the world.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I put in my application.
Yep. And how many years did you do that for?
9 years.
Okay.
Worked for them for
So
9
you
years.
did it for 9 years. Can you show them your book one more time? Just show
Yes.
your book, okay?
Yes.
All right. You wrote several books. This
Yes.
is the latest book that you wrote, okay?
Yes.
So you go from working to the airlines, you get involved in speaking and writing. You're an author, you're a motivational speaker. How did that transfer? Can you give me
What happened was, during my career at Northwest Airline, I able to fly business class and first class,
Yep.
and I get to sit next to CEO and entrepreneur, and I was just pretty much picking their brain.
Sure.
Tell me how you become successful on
Sure.
that stuff. And someone recommended me a book they call Robert Kiyosaki.
Right,
By
right.
Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
I know, right.
I'm sure we all read that book. And because of that book, it got me into real estate. And I got into real estate part-time while I was still working for the airline.
Right.
And real estate became so successful, I was
Right.
like, well, I'm going to quit Northwest and go in this full-time.
Can I interrupt you? Because people
Sure.
watching the show, you come here from the country, you escaped, not escaped, but you flee the country for your safety and all that, okay? And then you get a job, and then they're probably thinking, how did this guy get some money to even invest in real estate? So how do you save up enough money to do that? You know?
Good question. I mean, we all know how to build wealth, right? Pay yourself first.
Right.
And just like Robert Kiyosaki's books
Sure.
taught us, save yourself, pay yourself first. And that's what I did. I started investing, paying myself first. And then when I have enough money, I start, down in real estate. And it just, it's a small step.
Sure.
It's every step you take, and it's not like an overnight success. You got to take some time.
Sure.
But that's what I did.
Yep. So then you built that up.
I built that up.
All right. And then the housing market crashed.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm assuming you lost a lot of money.
I lost everything.
Okay.
I was completely broke. I was homeless too for
Okay.
a few weeks.
Okay.
The only thing I had was my beat up junker car.
Right.
And I remember sitting in front of Caribou one day with only $1 to my name.
Right.
And I look at the dollar bill and ask myself a very important question.
Right.
Like, how can I turn this dollar bill into $1 million?
Right.
And at that day, it changed my life. It changed my life.
So your thoughts, how do you go from that to, like I said, you're the author of 4 books right now, okay? Your first book was what? And how did you go to that?
Yeah, my first book called The 5 Laws to Wealth,
Right.
Success, and Happiness. And I went to that book because once I achieved the level of success, I realized there's other people who probably struggling the same way that I did.
Right.
Why not share some principles, some ideas of how to help them get out the mess?
Right.
And that's what I did. The 5 Laws to Wealth, Success, and Happiness is the principle that I've been using to get myself out of that mess. So that's why I put it out there.
Okay.
And
Is that like, can they get that one for free if they go to your website or something?
Yes, absolutely.
What's your website?
WannyHuynh.com. So it's first name and last name.com, and then just download the book. It's free.
Right. Okay. How many pages is the book?
It's about 35. It's a short
Book.
small short
Yeah,
book.
and I like what I say is I like my first book I wrote. I think was like 120 pages. I like quick reads. People who are busy, people that are trying to be successful. I want something that I can kind of get into. I want it to be quick. I want it to be smart. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I am too. When I read a successful book, it was like 400 or 500 pages. You don't need all that information. Just give me a quick read.
Right. I agree. So then the second book you wrote was what?
The second book I wrote was how to overcome anything. And the reason why I titled it that way because through my journey, my experience, there was many challenges and obstacles, and there's many naysayers as well too.
Right.
And that book is pretty much just to inspire the reader, to let them know that, you know what, whatever your heart desire,
Right.
you can accomplish it. Just
Right.
keep pushing.
Right. Yeah. Because it's kind of like, I call it the crawdaddy effect.
Mhm.
People see you're trying to motivation, I do this show because I'm trying to help people. So I'll bring on personal trainers. People say, why would you bring a personal trainer on? That's competition. I said, not competition.
Yeah.
It's about helping people.
Exactly.
But so many people want to pull people down. They hate to see people become successful. But
Exactly.
the more successful you are, the more successful that I am, the
Absolutely.
more I can do for other people.
Absolutely.
See? Okay. So your third book was what?
My third book called Procrastinator to Finisher. Again, that's all the book that I wrote is pretty much based on my personal experience.
Yes, that's the best way to write.
Yeah, right. And being procrastinator, I felt that's held me back. Just like becoming a public speaker, right? It took me 20 years
Sure.
because I was procrastinating.
Sure.
If I didn't procrastinate, you know, I would be doing all this a long time ago.
Sure. Yeah.
20 years later.
Sure. I agree. But sometimes it takes those years. You're probably more ready for it even now too.
Correct.
Some of that
Very
sometimes
true.
you're probably more ready for
Yeah.
it. But people do need that because even I find as a personal trainer, people procrastinate. It's they talk, they talk, they
Yeah.
talk, they talk, but they never take that action
Correct.
that's needed to be successful in
Yes.
the area of their life. Okay, so your fourth book?
My fourth book is this one here,
Yep.
called Hope.
Yeah. What's that one about? I mean, really, if you can spend 4 or 5 minutes really getting into that book if you can.
Sure. Hope is an acronym for finding the path towards happiness, opportunity, and prosperity and enjoyment. And what that means is just to give people hope.
Yeah.
That-
And you wrote this. Why did you write Hope?
I wrote this because with the thing that's going around in the world today, there's many, you know, we got school shooting,
Right.
we got natural disaster,
Right.
we got the financial crisis. So
Yes.
all this stuff that's going around, I want to share the message of hope, that when you have hope, you can pretty much achieve anything.
Right.
Just don't ever give up and just have faith and believe.
Right. Is some of your story in there because the fact that you came to this country the way you did, that shows that there's hope.
There is,
That things
yes.
can change.
Absolutely.
You follow me? Is some of that in the book?
Yes, that's most of the thing that we just talked about is all in here because, just like you said, you know, if a guy who came to the U.S. only know his ABC and 1, 2, 3, right, able to
Right.
achieve this level of success. Imagine if a person born here in the U.S. with all this abundant opportunity
Right.
given to them,
Right.
they just need to utilize it and just run with it.
Right. And if somebody wanted to buy a copy of Hope, where would they go to buy a copy of
They
it?
can go to Amazon or they can go to my website, wannyyhuyn.com, and get their copy.
Wanny Huynh. How do you spell your last name for the viewing audience?
Yes, it's Huynh,
Right.
pronounced Win.
Let me see that book again. Now,
Yeah.
now I saw this book online and I was looking, I met him today, but I was looking at this book, I said, but who did you use to do the photo shoot? Who's that handsome guy on there? Who's this guy? Is that your twin brother?
That's my
That's a
twin
handsome
brother.
looking guy,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. Yeah, he's a very handsome guy.
So what does your parents think of your success?
You know, in Asian culture, we don't express our feeling as
Right,
much, right?
right.
My parents are gonna say, "Man, boy, I'm proud of you."
Hey, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, well, thank you,
I'm proud
Ron.
of you.
But the way
Yeah.
they express it is different. They just, you know, you can see it in their face, right? They don't say it day in, day out. Just like I'm sure you probably don't say I love you to your friends and family. I'm sure you do.
I do.
You do.
My brother Lee, I
Yeah,
tell him I
you
love him about
see?
once a week.
You see?
My other brother, I tell him I love him every day we talk. He lives in New York.
But with me, with all Asian culture, we don't say that every day.
Right.
I say it to my wife every day, but to my parents, I don't say it every day. But you can see it in their face that,
Right.
that they're proud of me for all my accomplishments.
Right, okay. Okay, so you've written all these books, but I also know you're a distinguished speaker, okay? If somebody wants to get a hold of you for speaking, they go to, do you have a number for that, or you just have them go to your website?
Yeah, they can just go to my website, wannyyhuyn.com, and then all the information is there.
Right. And how long have you been speaking?
I've been doing it for like 6 years now.
Okay. And were you involved in Toastmasters too?
Yes. I'm involved in Toastmasters. Actually, that's the great organization. I recommend anyone who want to get into speaking or just even overcome fear of public speaking. Toastmasters is a great organization to start their journey. And
Right. Which one do you go to?
Right now I belong to 2 clubs.
Oh, wow.
One is in Egan. It's called Word Master, and the other one's in St. Paul here. It's called, not here in St. Paul.
Right.
In St. Paul, called Saturday Morning Live.
Okay. Saturday Morning Live.
Saturday Morning Live.
Okay. How big is the membership there? You know?
Yes, it's about
Roughly.
25.
Okay.
25 members.
Okay.
Now,
Cool.
you Toastmaster yourself?
I used to go to Toastmasters.
You used to?
Long time ago.
Okay. So why you stop?
Yeah, it's a long story. It's a long story. It's a long story. Yeah, I think Toastmaster depends on the group, and you always want to grow.
Yeah.
And if nobody's in your group that can help you grow, then you're in the wrong group.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they say, if you're not going anywhere, switch your group.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, and they say you can lead a horse. Well, let's say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Then my friend said, "Yeah, but you can waterboard the horse." That was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
You know, so no, but that's why. Let me just ask you this: if you got a young man or young lady right now that's watching Motivation,
Yes.
and they've heard your story, in the next 2 minutes, what would you say to them to maybe help motivate them? What would you say just to encourage them to take that next step?
Well, right now it doesn't matter where you are or where you've been. If you want to pursue something, you have to follow your passion. And we talk a lot about money, right? Money is important, but you cannot pursue money. You cannot chase the money, because once you find that passion, something you're passionate about, you enjoy doing it.
Right.
Day in, day out. Every morning you're motivated to get up and
Right.
want to go out there and pursue that passion.
Right.
So I would say find something that you're passionate about, and then just go after it. No matter what people say. People will tell you, you cannot do that, you cannot do this. Same thing with me. I'm sure you the same way. People will tell you, oh, you can't do this. They're like, Wanny, who want to listen to you speak? You can't even speak correct English.
Right.
And they'll tell you all that stuff, but never ever listen to them telling you, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. It's your journey. Life is your journey, and just enjoy the moment. Every day, hang around, just like you said, hang around people who are supportive or positive and encouraging, because they're the one who's going to help you grow.
Yes.
And you find a group of people, hold on to them tight.
I agree.
And,
I agree.
They will help you become successful.
I agree. In the next 30 seconds, what's next for Wanny? What's next for you?
I want to go out there and share as much people I can about the message of hope, because that's my mission. My mission is to go out there and share the message of hope. And if anyone know of any organization that would like to hear my story, I would love any recommendation as well.
Right. That's a good story, you know. On that note, I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to give you a copy of my latest book. Folks at home, that's right. You got to go to Amazon if you want it. He gets it free because he's a guest. Fitness Economics, the Lifestyle. That's for you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to thank you for coming on to Motivation. You're a great guest. You have a great story. And folks, again, you can go to his website. That stuff's going to be on the screen, so make sure that you watch Motivation. You can find the information at the bottom of the screen. Folks at home, and all that you do, stay fit, stay blessed, and stay motivated. And you know why? Because as Wanny would say, there's always hope. We're going to see you next time on Motivation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Wilbanks from Ambassadors for Business, here with today's Motivational Minute. I want to talk to you a little bit about time. You know, it's one of the biggest crunches we have out there. I think business equates to busyness. And it's interesting to me that there's only one difference between busyness and business, and that's the I and the Y. When we spend the time doing business the right way with our identity in Him, it all works out. It's business for the glory of God. But when we put ourselves first and we put that Y in there, right? It's about me. That's when we start to get mixed up. And at that point in time, we start spending our time on things that are probably more urgent in nature. You know, I gotta have, instead of what's ultimate. What's ultimate? What's God's will in our lives? If we start thinking about what's ultimate and set out to do that each and every day, it'll make a huge difference in your life.